ninth book, Mastering the Self-Directed IRA. Hey everyone, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial. Welcome to another episode of Adam Talks. On today's podcast, little self-plug, I am going to plug my new book, my ninth book. Very proud of this book. It's called Mastering the Self-Directed IRA, and it's really well done, if I could say. I spent, honestly, 3 years working on this book. The last book I published, Seven Figures at 70, I published during COVID, 2021. So I've been working on this almost 3 years. It's, I think, a perfect amount of time and space needed to cover the self-directed IRA structure. So it's about 105 pages or so. So I didn't want to do a book that was 200-300 pages. I've done that in the past. I did the 9 books. Obviously, I have Self-Directed IRA in a Nutshell. I have a Self-Directed IRA Checkbook Control book, which are both a few hundred pages. What I wanted to do in this book is basically give you all the key information you need from the beginning, the basics, all the way to the most advanced topics, like how to use a Roth IRA to buy private stock and shelter all the tax, or use it to buy and invest in a profits interest or a carried interest, or similar types of more exotic strategies. But I wanted to keep it short, okay? Because I know, especially for my kids, people don't have a lot of free time, right? They're doing a million different things. They're multitasking. They're on their phone. They're on their tablet, their computer. They're working. They're playing. There's a lot going on. So I wanted to write a book that covered everything you need to do to master the self-directed IRA, to basically be me, okay? And not go to law school, do a master's in tax law, work at large law firms, and study this stuff for 25 years. I didn't want you to have to do that. I did it for you. It was fun, but you don't need to do it. So I wrote this book, and I wrote it very carefully and tried to spend the time and the dedication that I thought was necessary, not to write. I mean, I can write 1,000 pages on the self-directed IRA, more, but I wanted to cover topics that were important. So if you were a novice, a beginner, a more advanced self-directed IRA investor, you would find something of interest in this book. Okay, so if you've never heard about a self-directed IRA ever before, and this is the first time you're hearing of it, this book will be absolutely perfect for you, because it's going to go through all the IRA, Roth IRA, SEP IRA, simple IRA rules in simple terms. Talk about the contribution rules, the distribution rules. It's going to talk about the concepts of compounding returns, the foundation of the U.S. retirement system, give you examples. And it's going to go into talk about the different types of self-directed IRAs, the checkbook control, the trust, just a regular self-directed IRA. Then it's going to go into depth and talk about the stuff you can't do, like prohibited transactions. Okay, it's going to give examples of all the different types of prohibited transactions. Then it's going to really dive into the concept of UBIT, unrelated business income tax, and explain how it impacts potentially your self-directed IRA investment. But it's not going to just stop there. It's going to give you potential workarounds, tips to minimize the implications. Okay, and then there's going to be some really cool advanced strategies to minimizing UBIT. And then it's going to talk about the Roth IRA, Roth conversion strategies, the power of the Roth, which I'm a big proponent of. I wrote a book, In God We Trust and Roth We Prosper, which I got to update. It's about 6 years old now, but the concepts are the same, right? The contribution numbers just need to be updated to 2024, but otherwise the whole key concepts of Roths remain the same. Is you shelter all your future income gains from taxation. So long as you're over 59 and a half and the Roth's been open at least 5 years, everything is tax-free. Okay, so this is really, really important features to understand. I'm going to talk about also owning stock, like founder stock. If you start a company with some friends, how you could potentially shelter the income and gains from taxation by using a Roth IRA as an investment strategy. Then I talk about carried interest and profits interest if you're in an investment fund, how to potentially shift the gains, also warrants. And then I talk about some of the tax reporting requirements. You need to understand what a custodian is, what your obligations are as a self-directed IRA investor. And then I also go into asset and creditor protection, which is a very important but unheralded aspect of an advantage of a self-directed IRA is a very strong asset and creditor protection tool, whether it's inside or outside of bankruptcy. And then it's going to talk about the Corporate Transparency Act, the beneficial ownership interest requirements, and then it's going to talk about and finalize in conclusion, the three critical questions you need to ask yourself before doing a self-directed IRA structure. So to me, if you know this book and you read it, and it's not super long, it should take you, a couple hours to read it, probably in a day at the beach, or if you're sitting around rainy day, you can knock it out in 2-3 hours. If you read this book and just think about it and follow through, like you'll know everything you need to know to master the self-directed IRA. Yes, there are some other peculiar and minor topics that I just didn't want to cover in this book because I didn't want to make this a 300-page book. Okay, I don't want this to be a law school treatise or textbook that you just have so much pain opening and trying to dive into. I wanted this to be easy, fun. I try to write it. It's very simple English, not as a lawyer, not as a tax lawyer, especially. Something, I gave it to my neighbor who's in college. I said, just read 20 pages. Tell me if you understand this thing. Said, yeah. And then I gave it to someone I know who's in their 70s. And I said, hey, just open a chapter and read it. Is it read well? Like, do you feel like you're back in college, or is this kind of just like an easy blog you're reading online on your phone at the beach and it's super easy to understand? And that was my goal, right? The self-directed IRA is not rocket science. Okay. It's not medical school. It's not becoming an electrical engineer. It's not that hard. There's a couple key concepts to understand. And there are important strategies to grasp. Okay. Once you do that, then the world's your oyster. Literally, it unlocks your money to invest in almost anything you want. You can have greater control, freedom over your investments, over your retirement money, and over your life. And to me, there's nothing more American than freedom, right? That's the beauty of America, is it's built on freedom. And the self-directed IRA is the tool to give you freedom to not only invest today, but to control your future so that your investments materialize and grow. And you can invest in things you understand, right? Not everyone gets mutual funds or ETFs or stocks, okay? And even if you do get them and want to invest in them, it's also important to diversify, right? I'm not an investment advisor, but everyone I speak to and everyone I invest with says, hey, Adam, you need to diversify. You need to not just put all your money in one bucket of investments. So self-directed IRA will let you do real estate. It will let you do private stock. It'll let you do private equity, hedge funds, credit funds, real estate funds, gold, cryptos, you name it, you can do it. There's only 3 things you can't do: life insurance, collectibles, and self-dealing, conflict of interest, prohibited transactions that benefit you personally and not your IRA. And this book will cover everything you need to know. So this book just dropped end of July. So depending on when you're listening or watching this podcast, you can get it on Amazon. I kept the price, relatively cheap. It's I think 12 or 13 bucks. I don't want you, spending a lot of money on it. I just want you to be able to use it as a tool, as a resource, and as an educational vehicle that you can learn how to master the self-directed IRA. And this is a pre-sale. You can see it's not even for sale. This is a hot off the press copy. It's good. There'll also be an ebook. I'm going to do an audio book, but I think this is the best one I've written, not just because I wrote it recently, but I've had experience. The first couple books were good, but I think they progressively get better. And the biggest important and supporting fact of this book that I appreciate the most is its size. I kept this. I worked so hard. I edited this baby. Initially, it was like 220 pages, and I literally cut half of it. I reworked language. I cut things out. I took pages and put them into paragraphs. I just want to keep this simple so someone in literally 3-4 hours can read this and be like, oh, I understand everything I need to know to master a self-directed IRA. And I wrote it. I don't think anyone knows this stuff better than me in the self-directed IRA world. Yeah, there are better lawyers out there, of course. There's better litigators, better real estate lawyers, better trust and estate lawyers, better corporate tax lawyers, better real estate lawyers. Yeah. But when it comes to IRAs and self-directed IRAs and 401ks, there's no one better than me at this. it's just my niche. It's my passion. It's what I love to do. Um, it is what it is. I've been doing this since practicing law since 2001 as a tax lawyer, and specifically in the retirement space, 15 years, literally every day studying this stuff. So it's my 9th book. Super, super pumped, super proud. I definitely encourage you to read it. It's not going to be painful. It's not like reading a college or law school or medical school treatise or textbook. It's gonna be fun and easy. It's gonna be like just reading a bunch of articles on your phone. That was the whole purpose of it, where you can kind of explore the book and it's just scroll it and you can pick up a topic, but it goes sequential where it really starts at the basics, like what a retirement account is, what an IRA is, what is the power behind the retirement system and compounding returns. Gives you some really good examples to motivate you, to show you the power of investing, the power of 72, the power of compound returns. And then it goes into the structures and some of the more important topics like prohibited transactions and UBIT, and then talks about Roth and conversion strategies and sheltering income and gains from taxation. So there's so many really, really tax optimization tools that you can do using a self-directed IRA. And then when you couple that with the fact that you could invest in almost anything you want, take control of your future, self-directed IRA is such a valuable retirement tool. And this book will give you everything you need to know to master the self-directed IRA and be an Adam Bergman. You can do it. You don't have to do law school or master's in taxation or work in some of the largest law firms in the world and start a self-directed IRA company. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is read about 100 pages. If it takes you more than 3-4 hours to read, I'd be surprised. You can see like the text, it's not very big. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see it. If you're listening, you're not going to see it, but you can always just buy the book and check it out. There's an ebook that's super, super inexpensive, or you can buy the softcover book and just keep it handy. It's there for you as a resource, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. I'm super proud. Been almost 3 years working on this. The next one is going to be Mastering the Solo K, which I started on that. That's not going to be released for at least another year. Because again, the key is not just to dump a lot of text. I can do that. I can write a 1,000-page book. No one's going to read it. It's not interesting. What I think the secret sauce behind this book is to simplify everything in a way that starts at the beginning and takes you to the more advanced topics, but doesn't do it in a very intimidating way, and just does it in an easy flow. So at the end of the book, you pretty much are going to know everything you need to know to master the self-directed IRA. So thank you for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, appreciate it. I don't do this a lot, right? I just felt like, hey, I deserve a selfless plug. And I figured the Adam Talks podcast is a good platform to do it. I'm also going to do a YouTube live on this. So if depending on when you're listening to this podcast, you can check out our YouTube channel, IRA Financial, and just kind of watch me talk about it. But I'm going to kind of go through the same things, maybe read a few paragraphs from the book so you can get an idea of how the writing works. But the goal again is kind of like just reading a bunch of articles and just light bulbs go up, resonates, and you're like, oh, it's not that hard. I can master this thing and I can be successful and hopefully a very wealthy self-directed IRA investor. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Appreciate it. Really been doing this podcast almost 6-7 years. Really appreciate all the support. You guys have been super awesome. And don't forget to check out the IRA Financial YouTube channel because there's so much amazing content. If you are interested in learning more about self-directed IRAs, alternative assets, solo 401ks, from basic to more advanced self-directed strategies and topics, it's all there. It's free. Check it out whenever you want. That's it. Have a great day, and I'll see everyone again next week. Ciao.